Hi everyone. Hi. Hi, my name is Maya Brooks. I'm a product manager at IFundWomen, and I am excited to talk today about how to launch and scale your business. I'm going to allow everybody a little bit of time to just join the line, so welcome. Hi everyone. I'm waving. I see some people in here. Hi, good to meet you all. Unfortunately, I don't have any music playing, but I really wish I did so that I could just kind of like bop around during this time. But great to meet you all. Gonna get started in just a couple of seconds. Gonna allow some people to join the line. Hi everyone. Super excited to dig into our topic today. If you have any kind of question or you come up with something during this live that you want to know about from me or from the Built by Girls team, feel free to drop those in the IG comments for this live. We will either answer them now or we'll get to them later and follow up with you. So make sure you ask those questions. Hi everyone. Hi, good to meet you. Looks like we've got some people joining. Hey. Hi everyone, my name is Maya. I'm running the session today on getting started with your business, launching and growing a new venture if you've started one, and I'm super excited to be here today. Hi, hello. Where is everyone from? Like, comment in there where you're from. I would love to know where everyone's located right now. I'm in Brooklyn, so I'm in my apartment in New York. Okay, someone from Maine. North Miami Beach, cool. Awesome. Another person from New York, hi, good to meet you. Cali, Orange County, that's awesome. Virginia, that is amazing. All over the place. New Hampshire, what's up? Someone who just loves New York. I love New York too. Chicago, that's my home state, what's up? Poland, wow, India, another Brooklyn. This is awesome. It's so great to see kind of the reach that Built by Girls has and where you all are located. So I'm really excited to kind of drop some knowledge today. All right. So it looks like people are still joining the line. I'm gonna go ahead and just start talking and kind of kick us off. And again, if you have any questions, feel free to drop those in this IG Live comment section. I would love to know what you guys are thinking about. If you have a comment, if you wanna leave me something, I would love to know. So without further ado, I'm gonna go ahead and get started. So like I said, hi, my name is Maya Brooks. I'm the product manager at IFundWomen. And I've been there since January of 2019, so pretty early. And my pronouns are she, her for anyone who would like to know. I'm super excited to kick off this live today talking specifically about launching, growing, scaling a business, right? When we talk about what building a business really looks like, I want to give you all of the tools and kind of resources and considerations that I think about on a daily basis as a product manager, but also some of the things that our community at IFundWomen is going through and thinks about on a daily basis. So I'm going to start there. Would love to know if you've heard of IFundWomen before, or if you are familiar with our platform, like drop a comment in there like, hey, I know who you guys are. Would love to kind of see who's familiar with us. For those of you who are not familiar with IFundWomen and what we do, IFundWomen is the go-to marketplace for women-led businesses and those who want to fund them. Right? So all day, every day, our focus is connecting women-led businesses with resources. We can connect you to resources in capital, so if you need to raise money, if you need to raise money from the public by crowdfunding, we have a platform that can make you, that can help you do that, really help you take your business to the next level, secure some easy capital that's debt-free, equity-free, and that you don't have to give away kind of valuable parts of your business to get some early cash going to kind of get you off the ground. So from the capital side, we do a lot to connect women with funders. We do a lot to connect women with corporations that want to give grant money to women-led businesses. We currently have a grant program running right now. It's live until September 4th with P&G Ventures. So if you are interested in, if you have a consumable product, if you have a business that's in wellness or that's in skincare or aging or sanitizing solutions or health, P&G Ventures is looking for you. So 100%, like, right in the chat. I know some people from our team are kind of like chiming in there as well, so they'll drop the link in there. You can also find the link to that competition at ifundwomen.com/grants and hit apply for a grant, and you'll see IFundWomen and P&G Ventures as one of like the first results on our website. So again, that link is ifundwomen.com/grants. And that is a $10,000 grant that we're going to be giving away. So huge, huge deal. So we connect women with capital. That's step number one. The other things that we help do is to connect you to coaching resources, right? Resources that help you skill up your business, take your knowledge to the next level. If you need help creating strategic partnerships, if you need help building an MVP, which is what we're going to talk about today, we have tech coaches on our platform at the ready, always just kind of ready to stand by and help you take your business to the next level. We do one-on-one sessions, we do workshops. So if you're interested in that, go to ifundwomen.com, hit get coaching, and you'll be able to access our resources there. And the last thing that we do is connect other women-owned businesses and other female entrepreneurs with people in the community who can help be on the journey with them. So we have a wonderful Slack community, and again, we'll share more resources here in the chat. Welcome you to join our community. It's totally free. Follow us on IG, etc. It's a great place to connect with other women-led businesses and other entrepreneurs who are in the hustle, right, and going through the same type of challenges and kind of working on the same things. So definitely join in there if you are interested. I want to talk like really briefly before we jump into today's session about why IFundWomen is so special and why we're so excited to partner with Built by Girls for this live. IFundWomen is 100% women-owned, right, and women-led. And in the tech industry, especially in fintech, that is not a common story, right? And on top of that, all of our co-founders are non-technical. So if you are non-technical and you're wondering if you can start a business, I promise you, you can. I'm going to tell you how to do it during this live. But it's a really special thing that we have at our team. We have an extremely incredibly diverse team that I'm super proud to work with every day. And that includes all types of diversity on our team. And I'm so excited to be working at a business that is 100% women-owned and women-led, because I think it really pays off in the way that we run our products, in the way that we talk to our customers, in the way that we run our leadership team, and it's been a really, really great thing to see take place. So I just wanted to drop that fact really quickly. I want to drop another fact also before we get into business, which is that there are over 1,800 new women-owned businesses started every single day in the United States, right? Let that sink in, 1,800. So if anyone was wondering, like, do women start businesses at the same rate as everyone else? We do. We're starting businesses every single day. Some of them are, in the tech industry. Others are, in the traditional small business space. But a wide variety of businesses coming out of the women-led space right now. And it's really, really incredible to see kind of the zeitgeist of support that's been running behind women-led businesses. On top of that, 89% of the overall new businesses started by women every single day in this country are actually led by women of color. So it's really incredible to kind of see so much of that drive really being pushed by women of color in the U.S. And part of that is out of necessity, right? Having to start a business in order to supplement income, or because you're at a job that doesn't meet your needs for flexible work or for childcare or for anything else. So it's really kind of incredible to see the landscape really shift from corporate jobs, traditional corporate landscape, to entrepreneurship. So I just wanted to kind of give everyone that background that, like, yes, we are starting businesses every day. And if you identify with that, like, stay on this live. We're going to be chatting. IFundWomen does a lot to help women-led businesses launch and grow their startups. And we have a really specific methodology around helping you grow your business. A couple of the things that are in our methodology that we really, really push are A, you do not want to go into debt funding the earliest stages of your startup. You do not want to go into debt funding the earliest stages of your startup, right? Why is that? You do not want to go into debt funding the early stages of your startup because A, most startups fail, and that's okay. We're going to get really comfortable with failure. We're going to get really used to failure as entrepreneurs. It's going to be a part of our story. We're just going to have to accept that. I accept it every single day in my job as a PM. So, we're going to kind of get comfortable with that. But given that stat that most businesses, most early stage startups fail, we don't want to be sinking our life savings, our capital, etc., into a business that we're not sure has legs yet, right? Has standing room, has traction with the customers that we want to reach. So that's kind of something we really, really preach, and we're going to be kind of talking about how can you test and prove that your business does have traction, right? That it is something that's actually solving a problem, solving a need for someone in the community, and that you make really good, smart decisions regarding your startup. So that's number one. And number two is that we are going to be test, learn, iterating all of the time. And for some of you that might be familiar with this kind of test, learn, iterate methodology, it comes from a book called The Lean Startup, a method called The Lean Startup, which is written by Eric Ries, E-R-I-C, last name R-I-E-S, The Lean Startup. It's a great book. Definitely buy it. 100% recommended. I keep it on my desk. But that methodology is really around everything that you're doing to build your startup in the earliest stages is about learning. It is about learning, talking to your customer, improving the product. It is not about how much money we want to sink into it, how much PR we can get for it, how much, marketing we put behind it, how pretty the design looks, right? Those things are important, but we really, really, really want to focus on, is my product providing value? Is my product providing value? And the only way that we know that is if we continue to test, learn, iterate. So those are kind of the places that we're going to start at for today. So I want to jump a little deeper into like test, learn, iterating, right? And kind of like what an MVP, what an early MVP is, and what that kind of looks like. So an MVP stands for minimum viable product. A minimum viable product. I even wrote it on this little sticky note. Minimum viable product, right? So our MVP, why is our MVP important? The MVP is the minimum amount of work and product that you can push out into the market in order to get great learning, right? In order to learn. Again, our entire point of pushing out an early product, starting an early stage business, is to just learn. So I'm going to give an example. Let's say that I have a wine business that I'm interested in starting, right? Maybe I want to start a tech app that understands your wine preferences and then delivers that wine to you, right? We'll start there. So if I have a startup like that, I want to know a couple of things up front when I'm testing, like A, how much wine do people usually buy on a daily basis? What are the types of flavors that people most usually identify with when they identify with wine? I want to kind of test my consumers' buying and purchasing power, right? How much wine do they buy a month? What type of wine do they buy? How often do they buy wine? In what price range do they buy this wine? Do they have a geographic location that they're more connected with, etc.? So in my early building stage, I'm going to start to pull together ways that I can answer that question and deliver value so that I can get some learning perspectives. right? Here's a really tangible way to start doing that. And this is the test phase. I haven't done anything yet. I'm still testing. For my test phase, I'm going to put together a little quiz, right? Simple survey. I can use a tool like, Google Forms or SurveyMonkey or Typeform to put together a little quiz. It's going to have like 10 questions, right? Kind of like those BuzzFeed quizzes that you might take, right? So I'm going to have my customer set. I'm going to post this like on Facebook. Maybe I post it in, my alumni group from school. Maybe I post it, in a Slack community that I'm a part of. And I say, hey, everyone, I'm going to start, I'm looking to start this business in the wine space. If you're interested and you want to know what type of wine you might like, take this quiz. Someone's going to fill out that quiz and I'm going to get an answer, right? On all of the things they like, the things they're interested in, the insights that are going to come from that quiz are going to be invaluable to me. And then I can actually take the results of that quiz and I can action it by actually starting to provide that value, right? So let's say if at the end of the quiz, it tells me, hey, Maya, we know that you like fruity red wines. Then I can actually go ahead and call or buy some wine from a supplier, right? Buy 6 bottles, slap a label on it with my name, and ship that out to my customer, right? So now I have fulfilled this value chain in a really simple way. I didn't have to build any fancy website. I didn't have to invest any crazy money. 6 bottles of wine is probably like around $70. So I can really start to test what that product looks like with very little money invested. So I'm going to start there, right, by just kind of polling my customer set, providing the value. As I start to learn, right, we move into like the learning stage. So we were in like the testing stage, right? Now we're moving to the learning stage. I'm trying to learn from the insights of like the test that I just put out there, which is that people fill out this survey, I fulfill the wine manually, right? So the next thing I'm going to want to ask them is, how was this process like for you, right? And I might get on the phone with them. I might have a conversation, start talking to them so that I can kind of know, how did this process go for you? Did you get the wine that you liked? Out of 1 to 10, how easy was this process for you to order? Would you order again, right? Would you do this process again? If there was a website that did this again, how much would you pay for it? If I made it really easy for you, where you never had to go to a store again for wine, how much would you pay for a value like that, right? So I'm learning from the insights that are happening. And again, I've spent, theoretically, at this entire venture so far, I've spent less than $100 on one customer, right? I'm sending out wine that I've just bought that matches their needs, and I might pick maybe 10 customers to do this with, right? So that I can kind of learn from what I'm putting out there in the universe. So that's my learning stage, right? I'm asking questions, I'm continuing to talk to my customer, I'm hopping on the phone with them, I'm getting, email surveys down, and that's kind of my learn stage. The iterate stage, right, which is kind of like the last part of this cycle, my test, learn, iterate. My iterate stage is going to look like, all right, now that I've got these insights and someone said, actually, you asked me if I liked dark chocolate, and from there you predicted that I would like fruity wines, but that assumption is not true, right? I don't like fruity wine, and I'm disappointed with my purchase, and I don't want this again. Or, something maybe went wrong in the process where I shipped out 6 bottles of wine, and this person got wine that was broken, or they got wine that, wasn't what they asked for, or any kind of thing could go wrong in this process. All of those learning things are going to lead me to iterate, change, add more value onto my product, or take off something that they didn't care about at all, right? Let's say maybe in every package of wine, I included some chips along with it. And people respond on the survey that they don't care about the chips at all. They only care about the wine. Then I'm going to stop doing that thing, right? So I'm going to take that feedback, I'm going to incorporate it into my process, I'm going to incorporate that into my product, and I'm going to continue to do this cycle over and over and over again, right? And each time I redo that cycle, I'm looking for more ways to add value. So that is super important. I want to get really quickly into do's and don'ts of the MVP process, and then we'll kind of open it up for your questions because I would love to answer. Some do's and don'ts for your MVP process. I think this is super duper important. So definitely charge for your product. I meet a lot of entrepreneurs. I've coached over 100 startups. I meet entrepreneurs every single day, and I see a lot of people get scared about charging, right? Like, I'm not sure if I have enough value yet to charge. I don't know if I have enough, customer set. I don't know if I'm asking the right price. It is very important for you to charge up front for your product. Charge up front. Why? Because your time is valuable, because the service you're providing is valuable, because your work is valuable. So even if the price point is not exactly aligned with what your customers need at the moment, charge something, right? Even if it's like $1 wine club. Maybe I start like $1 wine club and people belong to the club for $1. It attaches a monetary value to your product so that people know that this isn't just like a whim, it's not a hobby, it's not like something just for fun, right? It's an important business, and they will be less sensitive later in the future when you do decide to fluctuate your pricing and kind of charge what you're worth. So charge up front, that's number one. Number two, keep talking to your customers. I get so many people every day who are like, I have all these problems, or I'm not sure what's going wrong on my website, or people go to the website and they're not converting and I don't know why. And I'm like, have you asked them? Did you ask them yet? Right? Talk to your customers. It's so important. Call them up on the phone. Ask them what do they love about the product, right? Your super users, the people who keep coming back to you and they use you over and over and over again, ask them why. Ask them why they like it. Get into kind of like the meat of what's important to them. And then for people who are not interested, right? People who ignored my survey, they bought once and they didn't want to buy again, right? Call them too. Ask them why as well. It is a great way to get insights on what you're doing wrong. For competitors, right? Ask people why they like your competitors. Ask them, like, why are they using this competitor? What did they like about them? What did they make easy for you? And that is a really great way to continue to get insights on your product. So always talk to your customer. And the last thing is to keep doing that discovery, right? So on the do's list, charge, talk to your customer, keep doing discovery. We never stop doing customer discovery and asking what our customers want. On the don't list, I highly recommend that you do not try to wait until your product is perfect in order to put it out into the market, right? If you are waiting for like the magical moment that your product will be perfect and it will be like an A+ and you're gonna be like love every single thing about it, you are waiting too long. You are pushing too late. So what I'm gonna encourage everyone to do is, like, when your product makes it just to that MVP stage, right? Minimum viable product, minimum. What is the minimum thing that you need to do in order to provide value? That's when you push your product. And sometimes that might feel to you as the founder, as the entrepreneur, like a C+, right? Like, oh man, I put out a C+ product. That's terrible. It's not terrible. You're an early stage startup. Everybody probably knows at this stage that you're a startup, right? So they're gonna accept like a little bit of like maybe rough times. But put it out when there is enough to provide value. Why? So that you get the feedback. If you wait until the product is perfect, a lot of your feedback is going to come way too late, and then you've spent time and resources and energy and money on a product that is not what customers want, right? And now we have to go back and kind of like redo everything. So we want to avoid that pitfall. We want to push as early as possible, get something out into the market. All right, so before we hop into questions, I want to talk about how you can take your idea to reality with IFundWomen. And I'll kind of just like drop some really quick links. I'm sure people from our team will kind of be commenting in the IG Live section here. But IFundWomen specializes all day, every day in helping people take their ideas to reality. If your idea needs a little bit of funding, we highly recommend you check out our crowdfunding resources. Crowdfunding is a great way to test an early stage idea, get funding for your product before you invest in supply. understand the demand about your product before you invest in supply. So it's a really great place to start. Highly recommend going to IFundWomen.com and click Raise Capital, and you'll be able to get those resources. Again, IFundWomen.com, click Raise Capital, and you'll be able to take advantage of those resources. So that's one way we can help you bring your idea to reality. If you need a little bit more coaching, if you want a session kind of like this where we chat one-on-one about your product and about how to build it, and I give you like specialized tools and kind of help you formulate these steps, we have amazing coaches on IFundWomen in all areas, in sales and marketing, in building product, in business, in capital, in raising venture capital, all of that sort of stuff. So if you are interested in any of those topics and you want a one-on-one experience, or you want a one-on-one coach to kind of help you through that process, again, go to ifundwomen.com and hit Get Coaching. You'll find our resources there. So ifundwomen.com and then click Get Coaching, and you'll see all of that information. Okay, I feel like I'm running out of time for questions, so I'm just going to open it right up. People with questions, like, drop them in this chat and I'll scroll through and see what I can kind of see so far. Okay, so I have a question here from Corey. Corey M0213 wants to know, what's the most interesting thing that I've learned or pivot that we've made from an MVP? That is a great question. And I'll be super candid and super honest about this, because IFundWomen is a startup kind of just like you all, right? Like we have been around since the end of 2016. We launched the day after the presidential election in 2016. So we're relatively new as well. And so we're learning and pivoting and iterating every single day. And that can be things as small as, like, how does our homepage look? And how do our menu items look, and what do people respond to things like, bigger product decisions that I make on a daily. So I'll give an example of that. We used to offer a 7-day free trial on some of our products. And what we realized was that people were taking advantage of the service, which is actually a great thing. And I'll kind of get back to why that is. It was actually a great thing that people wanted the service so bad that they would, like, get extra emails so that they could keep taking advantage of the 7-day free trial, right? That lets us know, like, wow, we must have something valuable. We're obviously, like, making a difference, right? So that was a really big point to us. But what we also learned was that, like, customers would come on and off the platform really often, and we wanted kind of more sticking power. We wanted more of that tight community, that really close-knit feel, and that kind of just required a little bit of a different decision for us. So the pivot that we kind of made from that was just taking that off. And I think since then, we've really gotten to know our customers better. We've gotten a deeper connection with all of our customers, right? Because our customers are sticking around much longer, and they're getting to know us, and they're sinking their teeth into our product methodology and what really helps them build and launch great startups. So that product decision has actually resulted in our customers being happier and in our team being happier too. So that was a pivot that we made that bore out really, really well for us. Okay, let's see more questions. We have a question from How Carol Sees. Hi. How Carol Sees is asking, what is a good amount of money to invest in a business idea? This is a great question, Carol. This is something that we answer all the time. The amount of money that you want to invest in your business idea is the least amount of money that you need in order to launch a valuable product. Often I coach people on how to get their business idea up and off the ground for, like, less than, I'd probably say, $500 to $1,000. MVPs can be launched for that. They can be launched for free. They can be launched for less. So I really, like, recommend thinking about ways that you can continue to provide value with your product without sinking a bunch of money into it. If you did need to sink a bunch of money into it, like, let's say maybe you have a retail business or a business that relies on a physical product, and so you need to, like, invest money in order to make that physical product, crowdfunding is a really, really great solution for that, right? Because you are sourcing the demand from your community to build this idea, to build this product, right? By pre-selling the product before you make it. That way you can take advantage of having that cash and having that early feedback, and having your customers really show up for you and show their demand in what you're building without you having to waste thousands and thousands of dollars with a manufacturer or with a developer or something like that. So there are ways to kind of get around sinking money into a product. Okay, looking for more of these questions. What kind of user testing software would you recommend? So this question is from Alicia Sricio. Alicia, good to meet you. What kind of user testing software would I recommend? So usually when I say user testing, I'm really focusing on things like Google Forms or putting together some type of survey, right? Typeform's a great option for that. SurveyMonkey's a great option for that. You can kind of make your own form. Typeform even has something that's a little bit more like conversational. It's called Typeform Chat. So you can actually install a chatbot on like a simple landing page or something like that and have people go through that process with you, and it will feel like they're just talking to a chatbot, but really they're filling out a survey. So that's kind of where I always recommend starting with testing, is just really like a survey, something super simple. If you do need software and you kind of want to like upgrade into that, there are like A/B testing tools like Optimizely that can help you with that, where you can actually like A/B test certain parts of your site and see how people respond. You can also use software like, let's see, we've got Optimizely on that end. You can also use something like userinterviews.com. If you're not finding the demo that you want via your survey, you can hire basically userinterviews.com to reach out for you to a pre-curated group of people, and they will put your information out there so that you gather insights from the people you're looking for. Great question. Oya is asking, do I experience imposter syndrome? And if so, how do you push through it? That's a great question. I do experience imposter syndrome. I'll back up like a little bit about my career journey a little bit, which is I actually started my career off in finance. So I was not technical at all. When I graduated college, I got a job at a financial firm. I was really focused on kind of like making that my career. And after kind of the about 4 years at that firm, I really kind of realized, I want a space that kind of involves a little bit more innovation. I want to feel closer to my work. I want to make more impact. And so I started looking into startups. And I became technical, and I did 6 months of tech boot camp and all of that sort of stuff. And I finally got my product role. But I will say, definitely, like, I experienced some imposter syndrome around like being so new in the technical field, and kind of meeting other people who seem to have product all figured out, and I'm really still testing a lot of things. So definitely, I think everybody experiences imposter syndrome in some way. The more important part of this question is like, how do you push through it, right? How do you move past that? I think you trust your value, right? Like, you kind of trust where you are. I trust that my CEO made a good decision when she hired me. And I'm going to trust in that, and that's going to help me push through, right? That's going to help me feel much better about like what I'm doing. And then the other ways that I push through it is that I just continue to remember that we're all always learning, right? We're all always learning. There is no end to the learning. There's not like a magical pinnacle that you reach where you know everything. So when you keep that in mind, you realize everyone else is always learning as well. And I just stay open to sharing and kind of learning all of that as we go along. So that's kind of how I get through it. And I know that you guys can get through it too. Someone has asked, where was my tech boot camp? I went to General Assembly. And I was teaching there as well until the pandemic happened, but definitely recommend. It's a great organization. Okay, I know that we're like 5 minutes over time, but I would love to take questions for just like 2 more minutes if there are any like major things that you want to ask. What can I help clarify? I would love to do that. I know there's a question from iCycle NYC. Hello. From iCycle NYC, they want to know, how often do you survey and what about newsletters? This is a really great question. How often do you survey? I would say that really depends on your product cadence. I think early on in our process, I wanted to survey our users every 2 weeks. Then that process kind of moved to once a month. Now our process is more like on a quarterly or like an as needed basis. We survey where we need to. But early on in the product, we were taking feedback often. Like every couple of weeks, we would take feedback from our users, from our power users, from our core users, right? From people who are close to us in the industry or close to us and using our product. We really wanted to know if it was providing impact. So we would do those surveys quite often. And newsletters can be really helpful. Newsletters are a great way to stay in touch, to provide updates, to provide value to your customer set. So I would definitely continue to do a newsletter if you have one going. Okay, another question from how do you know how much to ask for when you're applying for grants or talking with investors? That's a great question. A lot of how much you need to ask for when you apply for grants, the grant amount will usually be preset, so you won't need to like ask for necessarily a need for a grant. It will usually be a preset amount or an amount divided over several years. So you won't need to specify for that, but I would think about like the use of your proceeds, right? If you get a grant for 10K, what are you doing with that money, right? What does that money need to go toward? Is it about hiring? Is it about scaling up a development team? Is it about buying more inventory? What is the thing you're using those proceeds for? When you quantify that, it'll be easy for you to kind of decide on what you need in order to secure that grant and kind of justifying why you need that money. On the point of talking to investors, this is a really great option and a really great question. And valuations and like what you need to ask for is a very, very, very nuanced topic. I'll say the best way to understand where you might want to start when you're talking with investors is do their research, right? How much is their typical check size, right? Are they a pre-seed firm, which means they usually are funding ideas that are product sometimes, pre-revenue usually. If that's you, you're likely talking to a pre-seed or a seed stage firm. Those firms are usually writing checks in the 250K to 500K area. So you're kind of going to want to probably dabble in there. I would do the research on who else have they funded recently, right? Who else in your sector, in your industry have they funded? For how much? How much did they raise from who, right? For investors that are not institutional, so people who are not venture capitalists, but maybe angel investors or kind of like personal wealth managers that just want to invest in your business, those people are usually going to have a tendency to write smaller check sizes. So something closer along the lines of like $10,000 to $25,000. That's what you'll probably be getting from that size investor. So I'll kind of leave that question there. There's a lot of nuance to that question, but hopefully I helped answer a little bit of that. And this, I see Elizabeth answered one of those questions. Actually, I think I'll answer this question as well out loud because I think it's super important. Mabel K. Smith, one of those things. Mabel, it is great to meet you. I think you have a really great question, right? How does crowdfunding on IFundWomen differ from Kickstarter or Indiegogo? I think that's a really great question. And the answer is a variety of ways. The first is that IFundWomen's methodology is fundamentally different than any other crowdfunding platform. We are here to provide you with the resources to launch and scale your business. On IFundWomen, you will be getting so much customer support, access to one-on-one coaching, access to our toolkit of resources, and access to our IFundWomen method, right? Which includes a little bit of what I've been talking about before on test, learn, iterating, but also on things like your reward strategy, right? Things like how to properly map your network so that when you do go live with your crowdfunding campaign, you're speaking to people who are primed to hear from you and support. And what we see on our platform, when people employ the IFundWomen method and they follow our advice and they use our tools, they raise 27 times the industry crowdfunding average. So that's 27 times what people raise on Kickstarter, what they raise on Indiegogo. IFundWomen entrepreneurs have a better rate of success. So our resources make us fundamentally different. Our audience makes us fundamentally different, right? How much customer service we provide one-on-one makes us fundamentally different. The support we provide from a creative standpoint, so if you need a crowdfunding video and you're like, I don't know how to do that, we have a studio that can help you with that. We can help you design your page so that it's eye-catching and that it tells your story correctly when you're pitching. So we have a lot of things that I think give us kind of a leg up on other platforms. And we also we provide you with the ability to track analytics on your campaign to see how many people are clicking through, where they're clicking, what they're excited about to see on your campaign, etc. So we've got a lot of built-in features to IFundWomen that really help you succeed at crowdfunding. And we're here rooting for your success, right? All of the work that we do is here to help you build your business. And so we really have a holistic approach to helping push you forward in that. Great question. Oh, and yes, Elizabeth just reminded me of this. The last thing that I forgot to mention that is really fundamentally different about IFundWomen is that we are a flexible crowdfunding platform. So that means that you can change the length of your campaign at any time. So if you're like, oh man, I didn't raise the money in this 30 days, I need like 10 more days, you can do that. You have that flexibility. It also means that you can you keep all of the money that you raise, right? So you do not have to hit your goal in order to get the money in your bank account. You actually start receiving the money in your bank account like 5 to 7 days right after you put up your campaign. So as soon as people start backing you, you'll see that money in your bank account. We don't make you, prove things in order to get the money. We don't make you hit the goal in order to get the money. We know how important it is for you to get funded immediately. So we don't block that access to capital. So it's really important that I mention that as well. All right, I am sure now that I'm super over time, but I'm just really excited to be here and to kind of be leaving all of this messaging and knowledge with you. I'll again leave some last links and kind of things that you can do if you're interested in learning about IFundWomen. Follow us on Instagram. That's a great place to get in touch with us. B, check out IFundWomen.com. All of the resources you need are on that website. Just go straight to IFundWomen.com and we'll get you started with all the resources you need to launch and scale your business. Again, make sure you test, learn, iterate. Be building that MVP. Always be talking to your customers. And I'll kind of leave you with that. I'd love to thank BBG, Built by Girls, for allowing me to kind of do this live and inviting us on this platform. I think this has been a great session. I loved the questions that I saw coming in. If you want to reach me personally, you can email me at Maya, M-A-Y-A, at IFundWomen.com. Again, email me at Maya, M-A-Y-A, at IFundWomen.com. That's the best place to reach me. And I promise I'll respond. So if you want to get in touch with me, please reach out there, reach out to IFundWomen, and good luck starting your business. Thanks everyone for joining. Thank you. Thanks for joining everyone. Bye. Thank you for joining.